Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Binary Life, a channel that teaches new developers how to code by solving algorithm problems so that you can see the step up. But today we'll be solving basic commands on Kubernetes and Docker. So using the commands and argument labs of Kodekloud platform, which is a platform that trains DevOps, Linux, and Git professionals. So let's get to the exercise. How many pods exist on the system? Given that we're in Kubernetes, we know the command to check pods like this. We have 1 on 1. So we have 1. Next question. What is the command used to run this pod? So this pod is actually running. So what command made it run? I think the best way to see that is to get the pod definition file of this pod, so we can get the pod, and the pod is called Ubuntu Sleeper. And let's get the YAML definition file and inspect where pod creation is done. It's done somewhere here, containers, and this is the command sleep 4800 here. Next question, create a pod with the Ubuntu image. So I'll just go ahead, kubectl run. Create a pod with the Ubuntu image to run the container to sleep for 5000. Modify the Ubuntu Sleeper YAML. So we basically have a YAML file already. This is the YAML 2. I'll open it. So it has to sleep for 5000. So we are going to add the command option used in container creation, and I can put this in array format, in JSON array format. So sleep 5000, and let's save this. The image is already the right one. They said Ubuntu, and we have a name already. That's basically all we need. So I'll save it, and let's apply that. kubectl apply this file, and let's check to make sure it's running. We can just check the number of running pods. It's actually running. And next question, create a pod using the file name Ubuntu Sleeper 3. First of all, let's inspect that file and let's see what's inside. This is the file. I just cut the input, so it's the same like the first one we just did. Actually, let me display the Ubuntu 2 that we just modified. This is 2, and this is the one that we have to. This is 3. The one that we have to create a pod from. So these two are the same, except for the difference of the timer allocated for the sleep command. Even though the sleep is written in different formats, but this is the same thing. So let's go ahead and do that. kubectl apply 3. So it says there's an error and we need to modify it. Actually in the question, pod in version 1 cannot be handled as a pod JSON. You cannot on Masha whatever. Now this is a feed that has a problem. Container spec containers command. This command has a problem. We need to correct that. We can either write it like this, you can write it like it was done here. Oh, I think 1200 should be put in quotes too. So let's modify that file. And let's put this in quotes, and let's see how that goes. That's done, and let's reapply. And let's check that the pod is running. It's good. So let's check, and we are good to go. Next command, update this pod to sleep for 2000. For me to update it, I need to actually delete this one, just to clean up. Let me delete this one, and let's remodify the file. I'm waiting for this to hand me the cursor. Actually, why it's even trying to hand the cursor, I can open it in another tab. So let me modify this file, and let's modify the sleeping time to 2000. Now let's re-up. Let me just check running pods to be sure that pod 3 was off. kubectl get pod. So pod 3 was gone already, which means it's over here. So I've already modified this file in the other tab. So let's reapply. The creation of a new pod, and let's list the pods that are running. You should have 3 now. We are back up 5 seconds ago. Next question, inspect the file DockerFiles. So what do we have here? It's in the root web color. I don't know where that is. This is the web app color folder. So I'll just list whatever is inside. We have a Docker file like this. What command is run at container startup? We have this entry point. This is where the first command is on the Docker file. Is python app.py here. Now inspect Docker file 2. Let's open Docker file 2. What command is run at container startup? This is another Docker file for the creation of a container that runs Python. Now the commands always starts here, entry point, and here are additional options. So when an image will be created from this Docker file and a container is run from that image, it's going to be launched with the command python app.py followed by -- color red as options, something like this, the first one. Inspect the 2 files under directory web app color 2. So let's go to web app color. In fact, I don't need to enter inside. Let's just list it. We have a Docker file and a pod creation file. What command is run at container startup? So let me inspect everything that's inside this folder here. I should probably list it one after the other. So we have the Docker file, looks like this, and we have the web app file. This is the Docker file inside there. And this is the pod definition file. Remember, the container has 2 files here. So the Docker file, this is it listed here, and this is the pod definition file. So what is the command? What command is run at container startup? We can say that is python app.py followed by the option color red. If we check here, that's for the Docker file, but for the container we have just color red. So it's actually missing python app.py. So I don't know if this question applies for the Docker file or the pod definition file. Inspect the tool. What command is run at container startup? Let's assume it's the pod, since we are doing Kubernetes lab. If it's the pod, it will be just color green. This one. Right, had it fine. Now inspect the two files under web app color 3. Let's inspect the files under this folder here. We also have a Docker file and a web app, a pod definition. So let's start with listing the Docker file. It looks like this. And what about the pod? What command is run at container startup? So command for a pod here actually corresponds to entry point for Docker file. Arguments here correspond to command here. Therefore, it always starts here, Python app -- color pink. So something like this, the first one. And create the pod with the given specification. By default, it displays a blue background. Why did it say blue? I can see red or pink here. Which pod are we talking about? I see. Create a pod with the given specification. By default, it displays a blue background. Set the given command line arguments to change it to green. Which one uses blue? This is green. Create a pod with the given specifications. By default, displays a blue background. Set the given command line arguments to change it to green. Now, what does it mean, blue background? Okay, because I can see that it's pink. Anyway, let's modify the file. This one. It says by default is blue, so let's change the color to blue, because that was pink before. All right, that's the default. Now it says run it as set the given command line arguments to change it to green. So if I do something like this, actually spot 2. Actually, I'll change it to green at once. Green. Let's save this and let's apply this file. All right, and let's check if every pod is running. And let's check this, and we are good to go. And that is about it for this lab, and thanks for viewing. Don't forget to subscribe to get updates on upcoming labs, and see you on another video.